Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Let's bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs and the host of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. On today's show, I'm talking about Carnism, the secretary bird, and Stranger Things. So stay right there.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and this is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. It's a rock and roll show.
What's wrong with you?
It's rock and roll show.
What?
All about
What's wrong with you? What's your problem?
People and pop culture. Jim knows exactly why I'm laughing, because he was doing one of his very unique, never been seen before dance moves to the intro music
And
this
it's
morning.
never been seen before.
I'll vouch for that. That was of another world, that particular move.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That just made me laugh. Anyway, it's good to laugh, everybody. I do laugh every day. I will tell you that, and it's good medicine for you. Well, I'm glad that you're here today because we've got a very packed show ahead of us. And some stuff that I think will make you laugh and some stuff that's rather serious, but maybe something you've never heard of before. So really glad that you're here listening to the show today. Let me just adjust my microphone here. I've got it a little bit too high up. There we go. Well, here we are. We just had Thanksgiving.
Your mister's paying attention to you when you said that.
What?
You went, here we are. And he went, what?
They're clever. Our dogs are clever. We've got Miss Thornton and Mr. Twix in studio. And Miss Galaxy always looks down on us. And Mr. Twix has a cone right now. And I have to tell you, this morning, he's a clever boy. He's so clever. In his head, he says, you know what? I have to get this cone off. And how am I going to do that? So his plan is, I'm just going to kiss her face and show her how cute I am. And I'm going to drape myself all over her in bed. And I'm going to kiss her face, which means ramming my face with that cone all morning, yeah? Mm-hmm. Because, I love you so much. I love you so much. And you love me so much that you're going to take this cone off my head. And eventually I do give in. Eventually. The reason he's got the cone on right now, he's got some hot spots. So he had chewed himself raw. A little bit hard to see on him because he has a lot of fur. Even when he's newly groomed, he still actually can't see. So we have to keep a little eye on him. And he just seemed to have had a little bit of a bad week with that. So I take the cone off when I can actually put him on my lap and monitor him. But is he funny? And I always say to him, as soon as I take this cone off, you're going to dump me and you're going to leave. And he does.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really funny this morning. And I've been rammed in the face with the cone quite a few times this morning. So he's clever. He's a clever boy. But we do have to, make sure that he doesn't injure himself. Because he what is it? And I need to look into this. Dogs will lick and chew, and it hurts them because sometimes you'll hear them yelp and they still continue to chew themselves.
Well, like the doctor said, she goes, they get satisfaction from scratching.
Well, I think we've all done that. If you get hay fever or if you have allergies, and the worst thing you could do is actually rub them, but it feels good, but it hurts at the same time.
Well, then there's
got to be that same feeling.
There's some that think that they maybe have ghost pain based, like joint issues or something, and they
nerve, yeah, sensations. Yes, it's not always that it itches. It can be there's a sensation, and they're trying to get rid of the sensation. So it's not always that their paws itch, and you have to look beyond. That. Well, I'm so glad everybody's here for the show today. So we just had Thanksgiving. We had a very nice Thanksgiving. We went over to the rabbi's house and had the most delicious food and the greatest company. Aren't they the greatest family?
super duper.
Oh, we love them. They're fun. They're really, really fun. And Joni's mother just loves you, Jim.
Yeah,
Because she ribs you and you rib her back, and she loves that.
that's right.
She absolutely loves
She got me good the other day.
She did. They had us go around the table and say what we were thankful for. And Jim was saying what he was thankful for. And she looked at him and she said, "Have you finished yet? Are you done yet?" So funny. She's such a great person, isn't she, Jim? And I love her dad. And just great company. So great food. The dogs are fabulous. We love the dogs. And you had lots of kisses, didn't you, from Daisy?
Oh my God, 85-pound pit bull sitting on my lap like a little baby.
She is so fabulous. I can't even begin to tell you. And all of her dogs are rescued. And we love seeing them, don't we, Jim? And at the end of the dinner, we're all given a gift. Now, Joni his wife is an artist, and she does ceramics and been a master artist for a long, long time. And she gave us each something that she'd made, and it was a bowl, and it had words around it. And he just said, like thankful, faith, and it was just really, really lovely. And my deluxe bread pudding was a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hit.
Delicious.
Just so you know, bread pudding should not be like a brick.
What should it be like?
Like what you just ate.
Juicy.
Yeah, if it's a brick, no. If you can pick it up with your hands, no.
I don't mind a chewy bread pudding.
That's incorrect. It's an incorrect bread pudding.
Incorrect to who?
The British.
Yeah, because
we invent everything.
they feature here all the time.
I always say that. Oh, we invented everything. Don't bother looking, Jim. Don't look it up. We invented everything. Well, we've been around a long time. And thank you for a British person. You have the internet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we also have,
what?
Because of the British, what else did we have? What do they call those mob squads that used to go conk guys on the head, put them on ships, and then they'd wake up out at sea and say, "Welcome to the Royal Navy"?
Oh, I don't know. How did we get onto that topic?
Thank for the British for that.
Oh, okay. Right, so I guess we should get on with this show. If you're new to the show, yay, we're glad that you're here. If you're one of our regulars, yay, we're glad that you're here. But if you want to connect with us in other places on the internet that the British invented, you can go to our website, which is where you probably...
Al Gore invented the interweb.
Which is where you probably start.
He said so.
He said so. I read it on the internet. How do you know the English guy invented the internet? I read it on the internet. Well, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. Let's get on with it. Our website is on the internet, and that is vegasrockdogradio.com. You'll find us on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram. And we have a blog, therockandrolldog.com. The blog right now is getting some action, and I'll tell you why it's getting some action a little bit later on in the show. And we do tell you who's coming on the show and who's been on the show. So we upload the show there as well as many, many other places. And I mean by many other places, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SiriusXM, and any other podcast app that you may have on your phone. Just search Vegas Rock Dog Radio. You will find us. We do have an app, and it's a free app, and you will go to yap.us, yapp.us. It's free, download for free, and then load the show. Download the show straight onto your app. And there, you've got that at your fingertips. So, what are you doing in the studio there? Jigging around? No. We were dancing this morning.
You've had a pen holder that's made out of cement that was about to fall, and so I had to move it.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
That's Indonesian, by the way.
Well, it's...
Just thought I'd let you know that.
Scratchy. You don't put a nice pen in a scratchy concrete pen holder.
Oh, my gosh. So Jim gets his pen. He buys it himself for Christmas.
It's a treat. Yeah, I bought a treat.
He said it was $45. And I said, what? For a pen? He goes, oh, that was half price.
It was half off.
It should have been $90.
98, yeah.
Oh, okay. You can never give me an exact amount when it comes to money.
$98.
Jim's like the equivalent. You know how some women will go shopping and they hide their stuff from their husbands, or they don't tell them.
They didn't hide anything from
Or they say, "Oh, I've had this for years." That's Jim.
I didn't hide anything.
So it's now $98.
It was 98. It was half off.
So it arrived, and it was like picking up a dumbbell. It was a really heavy pen that came in a test tube. Is it a Fisher Space pen?
It has a Fisher Space Pen ink in it, yeah.
Okay, right. So tell people about, because we've got to get on with this show, Jim, but tell them about the Fisher Space Pen ink.
Oh, I got to meet Paul Fisher years ago. What, you want the whole story?
No, just he invented the pen.
Oh, he invented it. It writes underwater, upside down. It's the only ink pen that's ever been in outer space ever.
There you go.
Life.
And they are just up the road from us in Boulder City. In Boulder City.
Yeah. Fisher Space Pen. Amazing.
So you ordered this pen that weighs 10 pounds.
Solid stainless steel.
You would get carpal tunnel for using that pen. I did not like the pen.
You could use it on pressure points on people.
I didn't. Yeah, it's a weapon as well, isn't it?
It's not a weapon, but it.
That was just something you made up.
You can apply pressure.
I didn't like it. I didn't think it wrote nicely.
Well, you don't have to use it.
And the ink was goopy.
You don't have to use it then.
So how did we get onto that?
You could use your Bic pens.
Oh, I do know a good pen though. We at school, it was not a Quillen ink, but it was an ink pen.
Yeah, feather from a raven from the Tower of London, I'll bet. And an inkwell.
Yeah, and I went to the same school as Harry Potter.
Ink.
I have the same last name almost. And we did wear uniform, and we did have houses, and I was in the House of Danes, so there you go. And our colour was yellow.
And you had a wand.
And I had a wand, yeah. Right, let's get on with this show. How did we get onto the pen? Oh, the falling thing. Okay, right, here we go. So last week, as I say, we've just had Thanksgiving. A few days before that, we had a photo fundraiser for animal rescue. And I always like to make observations at any of these events, whether it's a photo fundraiser or whether I have a booth at a pet event. And here are my observations. People come with their pets to get their photos taken. Lovely. We love that. And then they proceed to shout at the top of their voices, sit, 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 100 million times within the span of 5 minutes in a very, very angry manner.
Like the dog's going to get it after 50 times of you shouting.
They're not going to get it 50 times. It's distracting. It's stressful. And when you do tone, we know tone is so important when it comes to communicating with your pets. Why are you saying it in an angry way when you're not actually angry? Or are you angry? But why are you angry? You're asking your dog to sit. That's all you're doing. So that was one observation. They come with, I know it's all good intentions, they come with food, treats, toys, bells, squeakers, bones, you name it, they come with it. I know certain dogs are motivated by certain things. Food might be a noise, whatever. But we don't need you like a one-man band with cymbals under your armpits, a bass drum on your back, a triangle going, a bazooka. Do you know what a bazooka is?
Bazooka bubblegum or bazooka weapon?
No, it's an instrument. Oh, I'll have
it's not like a bazooka. It's a kazoo.
We call it a bazooka.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, but we probably invented that too.
It's called a kazoo.
Anyway. Yes, bring the things that will motivate, but don't use them all at once. And you will need to use them behind the photographer because you want your dog to look at you. And that's a really important thing. Another thing is this rapid fire of names, shouting the dog's name 100 million times, loud, aggressively, doesn't work. Wearing stuff that if they've not worn costumes and they don't want to wear a costume, that's probably not the day to try it out. And don't bring a costume that has bells on it if they don't like bells, because they try and run away from bells. And other dogs don't like bells if you're doing a group shot with your other pets. Another thing, as I say, is you need to stand behind the photographer. You cannot stand at the side of your dog shouting your dog's name and pointing to the photographer, say, look over there, look over there, look over there, because that doesn't work either. So what do you do? What do you do when it comes to pet photography? Well, here's my number one tip. Go for a walk before, if you've got the time, go for a walk with your pets. Burn off a little bit of energy. Because remember, they might be coming to a place that's brand new to them. They've never been before. So you're going to expect a little level of anxiety, a little bit nervousness, or being a little bit unsure. So prepare for that. Yeah, so go for a walk. It's really more about the person. You need to keep really calm. You need to keep really calm. And you need to be very sweet. And so do you, Jim. Calm.
You're the one that's way more nervous in public than I am.
I'm not nervous. I'm never nervous.
Anxious.
I'm never anxious ever in my life. Okay. The only time I'm anxious if I am doing something brand new, a little bit like a dog. If I'm doing something brand new, like when I started doing TV. In the beginning. Now I'm like, whatever. I'm comfortable with it. But I'm not a nervous nor an anxious person unless I'm doing something I've never, ever, ever done before. And I still make myself do it. And because it's the best feeling. Once you do something that you may have put off or a little bit uncomfortable, but you actually go and do it, it's the best feeling in the world. I have to tell you that. So here are my tips. Stay calm. My tip taps. Stay calm. Take your pets for a walk. Dress them. If they're okay with being dressed, if they're not comfortable, don't bother with it. You could do an accessory. You could do, if it's holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, you could do a collar or a bandana that shows that. Keep quiet. Keep really quiet during the session because you want your pets, your dog, to look at the photographer and listen to the photographer. And this is how we do it, yeah? With our friend Rick. We get the dogs situated. And if you've got someone who they have to sit with their dog, but they don't want to be in the photo, we have them sit at the side of the dog with their hands on the dog, and then slowly, quietly, no words, move one hand away, and then move the other hand away. And as that happens, Rick has a variety of toys with noises. It might be the wrinkling of a treat bag, those kind of things that dogs respond to. And they look at Rick straight away. And then he just rapid fire takes photos, a lot of photos, and you take your hands slowly out of the picture, and that's it. Then we get the photos. So we get them. So it's a matter of stay quiet, stay calm, let the photographer do all the direction. And I'm telling you now, we pull out some amazing photos, especially from people that say, I've never been able to get a picture. And, I'll be amazed if you do. And we do every single time. And we had a total, I think we had 4 dogs max this one, but I think we've had 6 before, haven't we? We managed to get off.
What were the 4 dogs? They were little. Well, there was one big one.
A big one and littles, and we managed to do it. So there you go. So another thing is, I say, listen to the photographer. Here's a really great tip. Be in the photos yourself. It's so much easier. Whether it's you're going to stand with your pets, you're going to hold your pets, you're going to put them on your lap, and it does look adorable. So remember, when we do these photo fundraisers, you can be in those photos as well. As they go for a walk. And here's one thing I don't want to see. I don't want to see you pushing their bottoms down to make them sit. I don't want you to see you pulling their front legs to make them lay down. You must not do that to your pets. You're trying to create a nice environment and get nice photos where they're not stressed out. So there you go. And it's all about being calm, letting the photographer do the job, and moving slowly. I think people sometimes are surprised when they come in and we don't make this crazy fuss over all the dogs. I mean, we will laugh after we got the photo. We're like, yay, good job. But sometimes they come in and I'm sure they think, oh, they're very quiet. But it's the best way to be. So there's my tips. And we said we'll probably put together a really funny video of what to do and what not to do in a pet photo fundraising session. But yeah, the one thing you need to do, stop shouting at your pets. Just stop shouting and stop being angry, because there's no reason to be angry. You're coming for sweet holiday photos. So there's my tips on my observations of our pet photos that we have done. Let's talk about well, you know what? Let's do a quick, when we come back, we're going to talk about a bird called the secretary bird. I'd never heard of this bird, but I'm going to tell you about the bird. So on the other side of the commercial, that's what we're going to do. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroil burgers, we also make your dogs happy. Come through our drive-thru with your furry friends and we'll offer them a treat. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, carlsjroflasvegas.com, has a treat in store for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so visit us often. Carl's Jr. is a proud and active supporter of animal adoption in our community. You can find us at carlsjroflasvegas.com.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. As I promised before the break, we're going to talk about the secretary bird.
I know what a secretary bird is.
You do?
I've seen them before.
What do they look like?
Tall. It's a tall bird. Has a long beak. Kind of looks eagle-like.
It's tall.
It's a water.
Yeah, it does have.
It's like a water bird.
Yeah, it has a bit of a dip to the old beak there. Let me tell you about this bird. It's unique. It's unique in the way that it is the only bird in the world to stomp its prey to death.
I'm going to look up a secretary bird.
You don't need to.
I'm going to. I want to see it.
Their scientific name is Sagittarius serpentarius. Oh, do I love that name. Sagittarius serpentarius. And it means the archer of snakes.
It's kind of like a roadrunner.
A little bit, yes. And this secretary bird, while she is able to fly, she hunts on foot. Some days she will stalk for 20 miles.
That is a raptor.
Kind of. She's got very, very long legs. So they're very well defended as well because they have tough scales on their legs and they protect them from snake bites. And their wings can be used to fend them off.
It's like a stompy eagle.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's got super long legs, but it's a quite a heavy body itself.
Where do they come from?
Oh, I don't know. Their stilt-like legs support the body of an eagle. This spells doom for many small savanna dwellers.
Africa.
There you go. So now we know. Amazing, but they said they're very good at defending their chicks, and it sounds like it. And she's. I saw the video of her stomping her prey, and she gobbled down a mouse in one whole mouse. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, that's
gobbled down a mouse in one whole mouse.
One whole.
What the heck?
Gobbled down a mouse in one whole gulp. Everyone knows what I mean, Jim. So there is the Sagittarius serpentarius, the archer of snakes. Yeah, she would flap you to death by the looks of her. Well, I want to go on to a topic. You may have never heard of this, the name of it, the term for it, and that is called carnism. Have you ever heard of it, Jim?
We used to be carnivorous.
No, we were never carnivorous. But carnism is the invisible belief system or ideology that conditions people to eat certain animals. And carnism is essentially the opposite of veganism, as carn means flesh or of the flesh, and ism refers to a belief system.
Oh, ism.
Ism, yeah. And I watched a TED Talk this morning. Well, I started watching it last night and then fell asleep halfway through, but I finished it off this morning, and it's called Beyond Carnism. So Beyond Carnism, it's an actual US-based international organization dedicated to exposing and transforming carnism, the invisible belief system that conditions people to eat certain animals. What I liked about this TED Talk, she said, do you ever think about that? And do you ever think, why do I not think about that? Why do I eat some animals and not others? Why am I put off by some and I think another one's delicious. And I thought that was a really interesting point. Do I think about that? And if I don't think about it, why am I not thinking about that? Going, why do I do that? But we could ask that question with many, many things. So carnism causes extensive suffering. She said it's animal agriculture is responsible for the unnecessary slaughter of 77 billion land animals worldwide per year. 77 billion.
Golly.
And it's a major contributor to environmental degradation, human disease, and human rights violations. However, the majority of people who eat animals are unaware that they are contributing to such destruction, and this is why she says it's invisible. You don't see the impacts of it. And like many people or kids, sometimes they don't know where their food comes from. You know, they don't know what a sprout looks like when it's growing naturally. They just see it in the supermarket. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it becomes an unknown kind of thing. You're like, oh, I just get my sprouts from the supermarket. Anyway, beyond carnism, they believe people need and deserve to know the truth about carnism so they can make their food choices freely. Because without awareness, there is no free choice. And I thought that was a brilliant line.
Makes sense.
It makes sense, and it applies to many things. You know, we've been talking a lot about puppy mills and buying dogs and get them off Craigslist and, you know, that kind of thing. So I think it's, you know, if there's no awareness, then you don't have a choice. I think it's a very, very good line. Beyond Carnism seeks to empower concerned citizens and vegan advocates through education and activism, and to help create a more compassionate and just world for all beings, human and non-human alike. And so the founder is Dr. Melanie Joy, and that's who I actually watched this morning on the TED Talk. And of course, with anything we mention in the show, the links will go up on our Facebook page. They'll also be in the show notes, and you'll be able to click on those. Melanie Joy, she's a PhD, and she's a Harvard-educated psychologist. She's a celebrated speaker, an organizational consultant, trainer, and relationship coach. She is the author of the award-winning book, Why We Love Dogs, Eat Pigs, and Wear Cows, an introduction to carnism, as well as strategic action for animals and beyond beliefs, a guide to improving relationships and communication for vegans, vegetarians, and meat eaters. Now, Dr. Joy has given her acclaimed carnism presentation and trained vegan advocates on 6 continents, and her work has been featured in major media outlets around the world. She's the 8th recipient of the Ahimsa Award, previously given to the Dalai Lama and Nelson Mandela for her work on global nonviolence, and the Empty Cages Prize, previously given to Tom Reagan for her contribution to furthering the cause of animal rights, and the Peter Singer Prize for strategies to reduce the suffering of animals. So let's go into carnism. And I feel like we're talking about this at a very good point in time, because there seems to be a shift that's happening. How people view animals and how they treat animals, and are they going to eat animals? So I think this is all coming up at the right time. Because carnism is invisible, people rarely realize that eating animals is a choice. This is directly off their website, by the way. People rarely realize that eating animals is a choice rather than a given. In meat-eating cultures around the world, people typically don't think about why they eat certain animals, but not others, and why they eat animals at all. But when eating animals is not a necessity, that's always been my big thing, which is the case for many people in the world today, then it's a choice, and choices always stem from beliefs. Correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So far.
Good.
So far, so good.
As long as we remain unaware of how carnism impacts us, we will be unable to make those food choices freely, because without awareness, there is no free choice. Carnistic defenses. Carnism runs counter to core values, core human values, values such as compassion and justice. Most people would not willingly support unnecessary violence towards other sentient beings. Therefore, carnism, like other violent systems, uses a set of defense mechanisms that distort our thoughts and block our natural empathy so that we act against our values without fully realizing what we're doing. In other words, carnism teaches us how not to feel. Carnistic defenses hide the contradictions between our values and behaviors so that we unknowingly make exceptions to what we would normally consider unethical. Yeah?
In other words, it's kind of like plugging your ears and going, la, 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 la,
Yeah.
la.
It is. It really is. Cognitive distortions. The primary defense of carnism is denial. And if we deny there is a problem in the first place, we don't have to do anything about it. And you know what? This leads me, and I'm going to make this very short. I was at a dinner party talking about SeaWorld and what was going on at SeaWorld and the abuse and the fact that they're just not living in their natural environment, can't possibly be happy or healthy. And being isolated is not good for them either. And the person said, please don't tell me because I still want to be able to go to SeaWorld.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me so that I can continue denying.
So that's the denial.
The knowledge.
And then if I don't know about it, then I don't have to get involved in it and I don't have to change what I'm doing because I kind of enjoy going to SeaWorld, even though clearly by this conversation, I already know there's some kind of abuse going on. That is, to me, like, wow, how do you even get into that mindset? But this is all about, this carnism. She's hitting on a point that just applies to so many different things. So denial is expressed largely through invisibility, and the main way carnism remains invisible is by remaining unnamed. If we don't name it, we can't question it. But not only is the system itself invisible, so too are its victims. The trillions of farmed animals who remain out of sight and therefore out of public consciousness, the increasingly damaged environment, the exploited and often brutalized meat packers and slaughterhouse workers, and the human consumers who are at increased risk for some of the most serious diseases in the industrialized world and who have been conditioned to turn off their hearts and minds when it comes to eating animals. Carnistic defenses are both powerful and fragile. They have a powerful impact on us when we are unaware of them, but they lose much of their power when they are made visible. So when we recognize carnistic defenses, we are able to make food choices that reflect what we authentically think and feel, rather than what we've been taught to think and feel. Yeah? So we're saying it's time to engage. That's what we're saying. It's time to engage. Now, there's a secondary carnistic defense, and carnism, like other oppressive systems, maintains itself by both strengthening itself and weakening the system that challenges it. And that is veganism, because that's the opposite of it, yeah? I'm sure the agricultural industry can't stand vegans. I'm sure of that. And the movement is growing worldwide. Because
well, you mean the animal agriculture business, because the plant-based agriculture business must love them because that's what they eat.
Say that again?
The animal agriculture business hates them, but the rest of the agriculture loves them.
Yes.
So I read that book years ago, Fast Food Nation.
Oh.
And where they talked about the environmental impact of animal farming versus plant farming.
Yeah, and then how it impacts people, how people are abused who work in those industries.
How much land it takes to produce how much food, depending on what is the food source you're growing.
And how they treat the animals. So carnistic defenses serve both these purposes. They validate carnism. They make eating animals seem legitimate. It's the right thing to do. We've always done it, And they invalidate veganism. They make not eating animals seem not legitimate, and it's the wrong thing to do. And it's always the case when there's a lot of money to be made in these industries. So secondary carnistic defenses are the special defenses that exist to invalidate veganism. They do so by invalidating vegans, vegan ideology, which is your beliefs and your practices, and the vegan movement as a whole. Secondary defenses hide or distort the truth about veganism so that we remain unaware of important factors and we don't trust the facts we are aware of. For example, most of us are unaware of the tremendous health benefits of a vegan diet, and we still believe the myth that eating animals is necessary and nutritious, and I think protein is the big thing. How am I going to get my protein? I'll never be able to build muscle if I don't do that. What do you vegans do for protein? And that protein comes from more than animals, and so there's definitely a big educational component right there. And popular carnistic culture even portrays vegans as biased, ignoring the fact that carnistic bias is deeply ingrained, so that we tend to distrust the information that vegans share. I will say this. I have many friends who are vegan. Jim and I are vegetarian, and we do eat vegan when it's available to us, and we are on this path where we're just making these changes as we go along. It's not that difficult, I'll be honest with you.
We have carnivorous dogs, though.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. No, that's not happening. They need to eat a species appropriate diet. Absolutely. But the thing, where was I going with this? I was going with, yes, about the message and not trusting them. It is important to learn how to convey your message if you're a vegan. It's the same as if I'm trying to tell people don't how to train your dog. We don't want aversive methods. We want you to be able to have positive reinforcement methods when it comes to training, and it's all in how you deliver that information. Very, very important to get people on board, because you want them on board. That's what you want. But people do tend to distrust the information vegans share. Vegans are also often portrayed as overly emotional and therefore irrational, moralistic, and radical. All stereotypes that serve to discredit the vegan message. There are people like that within in the vegan world. There just are, and that's some people's personalities. That's how some people do it. You're not going to get everybody to do the same thing. By shooting the messenger, carnism makes it less likely that the message, which directly challenges the validity of carnism, will be heard. Why eating animals is a social justice issue. I actually don't particularly like that term, social justice, for anything. It's so annoying because I think these terms get so distorted. It's crazy. We were talking about feminism the other day, weren't we? And we said it's, some people are saying it's this and it's so not that. It's become something very weird. And then it becomes a bad thing to be told you're a feminist because of the way it's been distorted. So sometimes you've got to be careful with these terms. But anyway, because carnism is invisible, we assume that eating or not eating animals is simply a matter of personal ethics. You make your choices and I'll make mine. However, when we recognize carnism, we can appreciate that eating animals is in fact the result of a widespread oppressive system. Consider, for example, how believing that women did not deserve the right to vote had less to do with personal choice or personal preference than it did with the widespread sexism that conditioned people to believe in the inferiority of women. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And carnism is structured like any other systems of oppression. They said, such as racism, sexism, heterosexism. While the experience of each set of victims of oppressive systems will always be unique, the systems are similar because the mentality that enables the oppression is exactly the same. So whether it was slavery, like they said, or, not believing women were equal and they were lesser beings. But ultimately, cultivating compassion and justice is not simply about changing behaviors. It's about changing consciousness so that no other human or non-human are victims of any oppression. And to bring about a more compassionate and just society, then we must strive to include all forms of oppression in our awareness, including carnism. And the website is carnism.org. And there were some images that I saw that struck out to me during this TED Talk. And again, carnism is the invisible ideology that conditions us to eat certain animals. It's an invisible ideology that conditions us to eat certain animals and not others. It's a dominant ideology. It's a violent ideology because, as we know, forget this whole we humanely kill them. Take the humane bit out. You kill them. It's just bizarre that those are even put together, those two words. You're killing animals. And they don't kill them. They make out, they don't put them to sleep. It's shocking. It is so shocking that in this TED Talk, she runs a 2-minute movie in the middle of it, 2 minutes. And she said, I'm not putting this to shock you, but to raise awareness, because she knows that you don't know the aspects of this agricultural meat industry and how horrific it is. We've gone away from fields, and animals roaming around. It's not like that. They're factories. They don't see daylight. They don't get to interact with other animals. It's terrifying. For example, the little piglets, they take off their testicles. They just snip them off while they are awake. They don't numb them. In fact, I'm saying snip. They actually rip them off. They do a snip, and then they pull them. I'm sorry to be so graphic. But that's one tiny, tiny aspect of what they do to these animals. They cut the tails off. Snip. It's unreal what happens. You'll see pigs in gestation cages. Imagine a metal cage, like a roll cage almost, being around your body, and you just lay on the floor and you can't move. That's your life. That is your life until they kill you. It's unbelievable. That 2 minutes, it's hard to watch, but I can guarantee you this much: if you watch it, you'll never eat meat again. You just won't eat meat again, because you couldn't bear the thought that happened to an animal in order for you to eat it. I mean, you just would not even cope with it. So these images, I say it's a dominant ideology because it's man over animal. It's violent because they do kill them and in a horrible, horrible way. And we're killing 1.2 billion animals. They're being slaughtered every single week. 1.2 billion slaughtered every single week. And of course, there are some components to it, which is the justification why you eat meat. And that's really, a lot of it is the myths, because people will say, it's normal, it's natural, it's necessary. We've always done that. And I've always had this thing, if you're a hunter, I do not want to hear, but we eat everything. I'm sorry, if you are still going to the supermarket to buy food and you hunt, this is not out of necessity. There are places in the world where you do have to hunt to live and survive. But if you're not on that level, I'm sorry, I'm not buying your line. I'm just not. Then there's the denial, which is that invisible part of it, and not knowing really who the victims are and what happens to the victims of carnism. And then this is what I thought was incredibly interesting. There are cognitive distortions. Do you know what I mean by that, Jim? Abstractions.
Not sure.
I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Not sure on that one.
For example, carnistic absurdities. Carnistic absurdities. You'll see, the cream cheese, not the cream cheese, the cheese triangles, the laughing cow.
Right.
That's an absurdity. There's no cow that's laughing in order for you to eat that.
It's just marketing.
There you go. It looks happy. It looks fun. We need to eat this. And it's so opposite of what's actually happening. For example, barbecue places. What do they always have? They have a cartoon of a pig with a chef's hat on, and the pig is barbecuing, smiling. But that's not what happened to the pigs in order for you to eat the pork. So this is why people it makes them feel like it's okay, or they don't think about it. They're like, oh, it's okay. That's happy image. That's a really happy image. There's an image here, and it's a cartoon, and it's a bowl of soup, and it's a chicken inside it because it's chicken soup. But it's chicken, yeah, and the chicken's got the spoon in its hand. Do you understand? So these are the absurdities, and here's what they say about that: if we believe absurdities, we shall commit atrocities, and that was by Voltaire.
Oh,
yeah. So that plays right into it. That marketing, it must be fun, It's terrible, really. It's really terrible. And they always, Leo Tolstoy said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields, and there will be. But the movement of veganism and just being kind to animals is big. It's gathering so much speed. You've got the vegan brothers who are absolutely hilarious. And they have a great story. They weren't vegans to start off with. In fact, they were quite, one of them was really like, oh, you're crazy vegan when his brother went vegan. And then eventually he became vegan, and he's never looked better in his entire life. But they've got this movement. They have a fun way of putting the information out there. Like I said, it's all about how you communicate your message. But carnism awareness is an idea definitely worth spreading. And that website is carnism.org. Dr. Melanie Joy is the one that's on the TED Talk, and she has a book out, so you can grab the book. So I thought it was a very interesting and important topic. We're definitely on the lines of that, and we don't want to see any animals suffer. And you know what? I don't miss eating meat at all, not in the slightest. So, and you know what? There are so many great fake meats out there. There really are. From something that looks like mincemeat, something that looks like a sausage, something that looks like, chicken nuggets. It's all plant-based. It's very tasty. And try it. It's absolutely worth trying, because you'll be surprised. You'll be really surprised. And you can pick the stuff up in normal places, normal supermarkets. So there you go. That's my little bit on Carnism. Now you know the term. Well, let's take one more quick break, Jim. I got one more thing to talk about when we get back. So stay right there. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome to Barking Dog Self-Washing Grooming, your one-stop shop for all your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Visit our Cool Cat section offering feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. And don't forget Cody's Healing Garden, featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Find us at www.barkingdogslv.com, and we look forward to seeing you in our neighborhood.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hello, everyone. We're back. Let's talk about Stranger Things. We've talked about the hit show on Netflix a couple of times now. We loved it. I think we're addicted to it. Are we going to have to wait for another season, another year? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But Stranger Things was this fantastic series on Netflix. It's a little bit like E.T. meets the Goonies, that kind of vibe, isn't it? That 80s vibe, which is great because the references are brilliant. The cast, beyond fantastic.
Concept of parallel universe and underworld.
And a lot to, you're trying to figure out the story and what's happening and who's this person and how are they linked to that. It's really, really good. Well, anyway, of course, you expect with any hit show like that, merchandise is going to follow. And it did. And it followed not just for the humans. You can get T-shirts and mugs and hats and scarves. You can now get bandanas. And instead of Stranger Things, it's called Chewing Things. It's got the same font, the 80s font. You can get blankets. You can get dog tees. And I've got them featured on my blog, therockandrolldog.com, with the links directly to where you can purchase those items. There's the Eggo Waffles game by Hasbro that's already out. There's a fun card for Christmas that says, what is it? Something about your, instead of a 10, make your Christmas an 11. And it's got the girl 11 on there. That's her character name. So I thought it was really fun, really current pop culture reference. And if you're looking for gifts for Christmas, Hanukkah, birthdays, or just something for yourself because you're a big, big fan, and whether it's you or your furry friends or feather friends, you'll find the products on our blog, therockandrolldog.com. So that's Stranger Things turns into Chewing Things and Stranger Dogs. So definitely hop on over there and you'll see those with links directly to the products. You can pick those up. I got a couple of things to talk about. I'm running out of time.
You have some times left.
Okay, I think
10 minutes.
I think I want to go on to this, and I really liked this. It's a beer company, and they've developed the edible 6-pack rings that feed rather than kill marine life.
Oh, very important. I was just looking at a video about the seagoing plastic cleaning machines.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean,
they say by 2050 they want to rid the world's oceans of plastic, and it's horrible. There's like certain spots in the world where it's the worst.
Yeah. Like
the waters where the British fisheries areas are one of the worst areas, and there's another area between Hawaii and Los Angeles, I guess.
And I guess of the way the currents go, because remember they had the tsunami in Japan, and in time, trash vehicles, a motorbike washed up on the shores in California. Yeah. So it's not an isolated thing. You can't say, we can stop it just in this area. I mean, everybody's got to participate for it to happen.
I remember one of the cruise lines I worked for years ago.
Where they just dump their trash?
At nighttime, when everybody was asleep, they'd open up the doors on the water line and throw the trash out.
Oh, my gosh, that's criminal.
I mean, there were fines even back then, but who's
then they
going to
paid
catch
them
you in the middle of the ocean?
Or they just pay them, and they continue on their way. Well, anyway, this company, they said, you're aware that 80% of the plastic humans throws away ends up in the ocean. That's 80%. The sad reality is made worse when one learns that as a result, billions of pounds of plastic are now swelling in the convergences in the seas. In fact, 40% of the Earth's total ocean mass is now covered with plastic. What?
Gets into the food supply.
So according to Greenpeace, about 70% of seabirds and 80% of sea turtles are now ingesting plastic, and as a result, 1 million birds and 100,000 marine mammals and sea turtles are dying each year. One of the major contributors to this epidemic are the seemingly harmless six-pack rings found across cans of soda and beer, because the rings have little value. Consumers nonchalantly throw them into the trash without any regard for marine life. And so 99% of birds are expected to have plastic in their guts by 2050. This is unacceptable, and a Florida-based brewery agrees with that. So in partnership with We Believers ad agency, the Saltwater Brewery in Delray conjured the brilliant idea to create edible six-pack rings that feed rather than kill marine life to offset the damage being done by plastic pollution. The rings are created from beer byproducts during the brewing process, such as barley and wheat, and are completely safe for humans and fish to eat. In addition, the invention is 100% biodegradable and compostable. Considering that Americans drank 6.3 billion, whoa, this is a lot, 6.3 billion gallons of beer in 2015, and 50% of that volume was from cans, this impressive invention will have a huge impact on the environment. So the craft beer company says that the innovative design is a resistant and craft beer company says that the innovative design is a resistant and efficient as plastic packaging. The one major drawback is that it is more expensive, but they do believe when consumers become aware, which is what we've been talking about this morning anyway, when you become aware you can make a choice, they'll be more than happy to pay a little bit extra that will preserve the earth for future generations. So the brand also believes that if more breweries opt to use the edible rings, prices may go down. If you saturate the market, then it drives prices down, gets competitive. Now, Peter Agardi, he's the head of brand at Saltwater Brewery, says it's a big investment for a small brewery created by fishermen, surfers, and people who just love the seas. And the brand also believes if more breweries opt to use the edible ring prices, that he does honestly predict they will go down. They are in the process of patenting together with a small startup of young engineers in Mexico. And the social entrepreneurs believe that edible six-pack rings will have a huge impact on the CPG, food and beverage industries.
Could people eat them too?
Yeah.
Like put a little hot sauce on them?
Yeah,
Make beer games out of it?
Yeah, I guess so. And of course, the goal is just to save thousands of lives in marine life. And the company writes, for brands to be successful today, it's no longer being about being in the world, but rather being the best for the world and take a real stance. Would you be willing to pay a little extra for to help ocean life? Well, I certainly would. We're not beer drinkers, but pop thing, yeah, water ring, the plastic ring thing, the water bottles you get sometimes.
You'd figure out how to make desserts out of it.
Somehow.
Or hors d'oeuvres.
I thought that was great. I thought that was such a great thing.
Beer ring brioche.
It's a bit of a far stretch, don't you think?
No, I don't know.
Oh, gosh. What else do we have? I've got so many good things I could talk about. Too many, really, for the show and the time that we've got today. Let me have another little scoot around here. So we've already talked about the secretary bird, and I just love its name. The Sagittarius.
Who's the secretary bird related to? What is his relative birds?
Oh, I've no idea. I couldn't even tell you, Jim.
I will find out.
And then we talked about carnism. And I guess, you know what? Let's just... let's talk about this. It is important. Do you feed your pet canned pet food? And if the answer is yes, then there's a word of caution when you go to purchase it next time. And before you do that, you want to search about an ingredient on the panel, and it's a deadly and commonly used additive called carrageenan. And if it is mentioned on the list of ingredients, research says to leave that can on the shelf right where you found it. Rodney Habib put this out here, this information. It's carrageenan is a highly effective thickener stabilizer and it's found in those processed pet foods. And you can buy these foods anywhere. I mean, even your veterinarian may sell them, canned food. And a new report sheds light on serious problems in pet food that could negatively impact companion animal health. Issued by the Cornucopia Institute, it's a non-profit food farm policy research group. The report found that greater than 70% of canned pet foods contain this carrageenan, and it's a non-nutritive food stabilizer extracted from red seaweed. Peer-reviewed published research indicates that the food-grade carrageenan is known to cause intestinal inflammation and serious related diseases with the potential to lead to cancer, even in small doses. And these animal studies have repeatedly shown that food-grade carrageenan causes gastrointestinal. That's my one word. That one. Gastrointestinal inflammation and cancer at low doses than the average daily intake. Given the high rates of colon cancer in both dogs and cats, I highly recommend removing carrageenan from your pet's diet, said Dr. Michael DVM. The Cornucopia report concludes that the pet food industry overall is failing its customers as a provider of safe and nutritious food for our cats and dogs. And that's why people are preparing their own foods. They're going to partial raw diets. They're going to raw diets. They're cooking for their dogs because they want to know what they're giving them. And this only adds to that. And it's all about trust. And we love our pets and we want to give them the best and make sure that they're healthy and safe. Adding to that, numerous studies find that food-grade carrageenan does contain the cancer-causing low molecular weight form referred to as polygeenan. And it's particularly troubling because the industry continues to assert that food-grade carrageenan is different from polygeenan, while research clearly indicates that all carrageenan contains varying quantities of polygene.
1, poly 2, poly 3, polygene.
Oh.
Poly 3, polygene.
So the moral of the story is always do your research. You follow Rodney Habib or Dr. Karen Becker. They put great information out there. Or what's her name? Dr. Jean Dodds. Follow her as well. Of course, we always share this kind of information on our show as well. And just make sure you read that label before you purchase that next canned food for your pets.
Carrageenan, I see that in other things.
Yes,
isn't it like shampoo or something?
I don't know. I want to say that. Yeah,
seems like a shampoo ingredient or something.
Can you research that? Just see what else it's in.
I was looking up Secretary Bird.
If you don't know who Rodney is, he's a pet nutrition blogger of I can't even tell you, of the highest order. Honestly, he does research all over the world. He's meeting with scientists and researchers. It's really impressive, the work that he does. This is his absolute passion. He does it in a fun way as well, gets his information across. You can just find him on Facebook, or you can go to Planet.
They've been used in Ireland since 400 AD.
What has?
Carrageenan mostly been made in China.
Oh, really? You know what we want? What everyone just wants to be is well informed, don't they? It's they don't want it to be difficult to understand a label, and it's not fun when there's no truth in this advertising of products. It's terrible. It's really terrible. What?
It's used in desserts, ice cream, milkshakes, yogurts, sauces.
Because it's a stabilizer.
Beer, toothpaste. Oh, I didn't mean to shout. Shampoo and cosmetic creams. Marbling. Soy milk and other plant milks to thicken. I need to look at my almond milk.
Oh my gosh, that's the one thing I do not like about some of those plant-based milks.
Diet
They're very
sodas,
goopy.
pet food, personal lubricants, vegetarian hot dogs. I went fast and you had to distract. Stop it. That could
It's
be
in
like
everything.
hand lotion.
So I'm assuming that this impacts us as well as pets. Can you search carrageenan? Is carrageenan dangerous to humans?
I'm reading the wiki on it right now.
Well, Wikipedia isn't always correct. You have to know that as well.
But it's the internet.
We'll put a link up to the study on cornucopia.org. Wow, that's not good. But carrageenan,
it's everywhere, and it's been around since the Dark Ages.
And is it dangerous to humans?
Well, no, it's a food grade. There's 2 different grades. There's
refined. There's stuff in our foods we should not be eating at all, but it's allowed to be in the foods.
It's a thickener. Low molecular weight, cancer, this, that, and the other, it says. But, wow, interesting.
So it doesn't say whether it impacts humans or not? He just said...
No, because why would it? It's rampant in the food and cosmetics.
No, that doesn't mean it's safe for humans, Jim. You know, so much is allowed in foods. Certain things are allowed in foods, and they're banned in other countries because they're dangerous, and that goes with pet foods as well. There's certain things that are banned. There's certain things that are allowed in, or a percentage is allowed in foods because they'll say it doesn't harm, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be safe for you. I mean, what if it's cumulative over time? You know, at that point, it might be dangerous.
I should go to Dr. Merkala. He probably knows about it.
He probably does. Why
haven't we had Dr. Merkala on the show?
Huh?
Why haven't we had Dr. Merkala on the show?
I don't know. We're going to have some amazing guests, though, in 2018. I'll tell you that much. I've got all kinds of people lined up. It's going to be so exciting. Let me find out. Is it dangerous to humans? There we go. Here we go. Go.
Dr. Weil says...
oh, what did he say?
I'm about to find out.
Right. At doses of up to 5% in the diet, food-grade carrageenan does not cause intestinal ulceration. Carrageenan can cause immune dysfunction when administered intravenously, not when consumed as a food additive. It
says it causes inflammation.
Yeah, no one needs inflammation in their life, do they? So I'm going to say...
glucose intolerance.
If they already know that
diabetes,
it doesn't 5% doesn't cause it, then does 6% cause ulceration? See what I mean? I don't take anything at face value anyway. Never have done. So I'm not fooled by anything, and I do have to research everything because that's what we do for the show anyway. And yeah, we're going to be looking out for that too. Goodness me. Well, Jim, on that note, we have got to the end of the show.
You have.
It went rather quickly this week. I can't believe we're nearing towards the end of the show. This week we celebrated the 5 years of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Can you believe it, Jim?
I can't. It seems very short.
5 years. It's gone so quickly, and we've got many more years ahead of us. Got some exciting things coming up in the new year. You're going to probably expect to see us on camera next year. What do you think about that, Jim? That means you can't sit in your pajamas, or maybe you can sit in your pajamas. If there were I'll get you a unicorn onesie, and that'll be cute on camera. What do you reckon, Jim?
That's not my style.
It's an animal. It's a mythical animal.
You love unicorns.
I do. So expect to see us on camera, and then you get to see the dogs too. You can probably hear Mr. Twix trying to get that cone off in the background, looking at me like, really? Get this off my head. But yeah, looking forward to 2018 with some new additions to the show itself. And yeah, it's great. But gosh, another year's flown by again. Well, if you've liked today's show, we would love for you to share the show. And so if you're on your smartphone, you're on your iPad, your Mac, whatever you're on, or you click through on Facebook to listen to the show, then please share the show. If you loved what we were talking about today and you feel that other people would be interested, we'd so appreciate that. And, like us on Facebook, find us on Instagram. We post very cute pictures of the dogs on Instagram. And make sure you post the pictures of your pets on our Facebook page because we like to see them. Tell us their names. Tell us why you love them so much. Don't be shy. And remember, you can help an animal in need. Always rescue your pets. Adopt, donate, volunteer, share an animal in need. Needs information, rescue your next family member, and replace the word shop with adopt. And remember to be kind to all animals.
We should add find to that.
Find. We should, because we just found that one. Well, we chased that one, and it became ours over time.
Capture.
Yeah, we captured him. Oh, yeah, he made us earn it. We earned it. Mm-hmm. We earned it. Big thank you for you being here today. And thank you to Jim for pushing the buttons. And we'd love to thank you as the listeners for being the biggest part of the show every single week. So today you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our hosts as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.